Donald Trump's support holds strong in key Rust Belt states as voters rally in support of the man who has taken a stand against the one world order. Voters in the U.S. will go to the polls on November 3 to decide whether Donald Trump remains in the White House for another 4 years. Mr. Trump is being challenged by Joe Biden, the Democratic Party nominee. In most polls, Mr. Biden has been ahead of Donald Trump in national polls for most of the year. Mr. Biden has been ahead of Mr. Trump in most polls throughout 2020. He has held a position of having around 50% approval rating, with Mr. Trump holding 42% in recent polls. A senior Trump campaign advisor called Steve Cortez said, "Trump has often been underestimated and relishes the role of the underdog." Many of the doubts being voiced now replicate similar skepticism from this time 4 years ago. A YouGov poll in July showed that 68% of Trump supporters feel enthusiastic about him. This is in contrast to Biden's supporters, as only 40% of the Democrat leader's supporters feel enthusiastic about his chances. Mr. Trump has support from across the Midwest, from Indiana, Ohio, and Iowa down to Kansas and Missouri. The incumbent president has most of his support base amongst those without university degrees who are white and male. To succeed, the Trump campaign is aiming to take key Midwestern states such as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. Speaking of Mr. Trump's strategy for re-election to the Times, leader of Barack Obama's campaign Jim Messina said, "That's his only shot. His only way to win is to figure out a way back in the Midwest and hold Florida. There's no simulation where he loses Florida and gets re-elected." The states that Mr. Trump is concentrating on to gain re-election trust him more on the economy. However, voter impression that Mr. Trump will deliver on the economy has eroded significantly since lockdown. Mr. Messina said, "The only reason this thing isn't over is Trump still leads on the economic stuff. The thing Biden most needs to do is have swing voters understand that he's okay on the economy." Mr. Trump still leads Mr. Biden in the rural areas of the Rust Belt states. Speaking to the Times, a pastor of the Faith Baptist Church in central Pennsylvania called Edward Maloney said, "I know Donald Trump isn't perfect, neither am I. But he cares about his country. He's taken a stand to stop the deep state, the socialism, the one world order takeover. He's put a stop to this and they don't like it, the Antifa crowd, the Satanist people. There are black people shooting black people every weekend. It doesn't seem to matter to these people." Opinion poll organization the Trafalgar Group placed Donald Trump higher than other polls. Group founder Robert Cowley spoke about those who will vote for Trump but are not vocal about it. He calls this the shy Trump effect. He said, "I think the shy Trump effect is significantly greater than in 2016. The worst that was said about you then, if you voted for Trump, was that you were deplorable. Now, the word deplorable might be the nicest word that someone would use." Mr. Cowley said he is getting a sense of déjà vu from 2016 when Mr. Trump surprised the polls to win the election. Mr. Cowley said the current cancel culture has made many people wary of admitting openly they will vote for Mr. Trump. He said, "So many people are petrified of somebody judging them as racist or sexist.